Spider-Man has faced a lot of enemies over the years. Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Venom, Carnage. Each one represents something different about the world he lives in. Madness, control, obsession, chaos. But this new threat, it doesn't fit any of these categories at all. Because it doesn't just fight Spider-Man, it studies him, it maps him carefully, and then it destroys everything around him, slowly, precisely. The world Spider-Man came back to. Peter Parker is not in control anymore. He returns home expecting to pick up where he left off. Instead, he finds missed calls, hundreds of voicemails piled up, unpaid bills, people angry at him for reasons he doesn't understand. Because while he was gone, someone else was living his life. Someone else was being Spider-Man. And the outside, it looks like Peter abandoned everything he ever cared about. That matters more than people realize. Because Spider-Man isn't just a hero, he's a responsibility, and now that responsibility is fractured. The first sign something is wrong. It doesn't start with Spider-Man. It starts with deaths, random people, different backgrounds, different lives, no obvious connection between them. At least, that's how it looks at first. Each death is quiet, clean, almost unimportant in the larger picture. But there's one detail no one can ignore. A pattern, a spiral, left behind every single time. This is where the real story begins. This isn't random, it never was. This is a system, a sequence, a carefully constructed method, and someone's following it perfectly. Because this killer doesn't just choose victims, he builds towards something much bigger. The death spiral. The pattern's simple, but deeply terrifying. Start far away from the target, kill distant connections first, then move closer and closer and closer still, until you reach the center. This isn't chaos. This is structure, and Spider-Man is at the center of it all. Why this villain is different. Most Spider-Man villains attack directly. They go after Peter Parker personally. They fight him face to face. They challenge him head on. But this one, he avoids Spider-Man completely, at first. Because he understands something crucial that others have missed. Spider-Man's real weakness isn't his body. It's his life. Spider-Man's real vulnerability. Peter Parker has always had one defining flaw. He cares too much. Friends, family, even enemies. That's what makes him Spider-Man in the first place. But it's also what makes him the most vulnerable person in the room. Because if you can't beat him, you break everything around him instead. The connection no one sees. At first, the victims seem completely unrelated. Different names, different stories, different lives that never crossed paths. But slowly, the truth begins to emerge. They are connected, through families, through shared histories, through relationships that go back years. Each victim is a thread in the same web. And all threads lead back to the same three people. Peter Parker, Eddie Brock, Ben Reilly. This isn't a murder. This is construction, a spiral, a path with a destination, a deliberate design. The villain isn't just killing people, he's drawing something with each death, a shape, a pattern, a message written in lives. And that message says, you're next. Carnage, the hidden force. At first, it looks like Carnage is responsible for all of it. That makes sense on the surface. Violence, symbols, chaos, it fits the profile perfectly. But something feels deeply off. Carnage doesn't work like this. Carnage doesn't plan ahead. He doesn't build patterns over time. He destroys everything immediately and moves on. But here, there's patience, precision, control. That only means one thing. This isn't Carnage's game. It's something far worse. The manipulation behind the scenes. Carnage knows exactly what's happening. He just isn't stopping it. In fact, he's guiding it, quietly, subtly, feeding information from the shadows, letting the spiral grow bigger. Because Carnage doesn't just want destruction anymore. He wants evolution. He's looking for something, someone worthy of what's coming next. The true villain Torment. This is where the name finally appears. Torment. Not a monster, not a god, not some cosmic being beyond understanding. Just a man. But a man with a system built over years. A man with patience that never runs out. A man who understands something terrifying. Pain is more effective than death. Why Torment is so dangerous. Torment doesn't rush into anything. He doesn't explode onto the scene with noise and destruction. He doesn't announce himself to anyone. He moves quietly through the city, calculating every move before he makes it. Every step brings him closer to the center. Every kill is a message. Every victim is a signal received. He doesn't want Spider-Man dead right away. He wants him completely broken first. The target isn't Spider-Man. It never was. The real target is his world, his relationships, his entire support system. Because if you destroy everything around Spider-Man, you don't just defeat him, you erase him entirely. Eddie Brock realizes too late. Eddie Brock begins to see the pattern forming. Names, connections, families tied together by invisible threads. It all lines up perfectly. And then it hits him like a wall. This isn't random at all. This is targeted. This is deeply personal. And the spiral isn't just moving towards Spider-Man. It's moving toward Eddie too. The horror of the design. Torment isn't killing randomly. He's selecting victims based on their proximity to the center. Distant relatives first, loose connections next. People barely remembered by anyone. Then closer and closer until there's nowhere left to go. This is a countdown, and every death is a step forward toward the end. Spider-Man finally understands. Peter realizes the full truth too late. Carnage knows who he is. That alone is dangerous enough. But this is something far worse than exposure, because now someone else knows how to hurt him without ever throwing a single punch. The final shift. This is where everything changes completely, because now the spiral tightens around them. No more distant victims, no more slow and careful build. Now, it's direct. Friends, family, people standing right next to Peter, people standing right next to Eddie Brock. The center is near. Why this story hits different. This isn't about power levels. This isn't about strength or speed. This isn't about who can punch harder in a fight. This is about fear, control, psychological destruction carried out with precision. Because the scariest villains aren't always the strongest ones in the room. They're the ones who understand you completely. Spider-Man's worst nightmare. Peter Parker has always feared one thing above everything else: losing the people he loves. That fear is what created Spider-Man in the first place. That fear is what drives him every single day. And now, that fear is being weaponized against him. Carnage's true role. Carnage isn't the villain in the story. He's the observer, the judge sitting back and watching. The one watching Torment from a distance, testing him, seeing how far he's willing to go. Because if Torment proves himself worthy, Carnage won't stop him. He'll become something entirely new because of him. The real threat. Torment isn't just dangerous because he kills without hesitation. He's dangerous because he understands the entire system. He knows where to strike for maximum damage, where to wait and let the tension build, how to escalate without ever overplaying his hand, and most importantly, how to break Spider-Man without ever stepping into the same room. The end of the spiral. Every spiral has one endpoint, the center, and when Torment finally reaches it, there are only two outcomes left. Spider-Man survives what's coming, or everything around him dies first. Spider-Man has fought monsters, aliens, gods, but this time, he's not fighting something stronger than him. He's fighting something smarter. And that's exactly why this might be the most dangerous villain he's ever faced.